Hey, I'm your storyteller. I'd love to know where you're watching from. You can tell me in the comments section. When you are ready, lean back, and let's dive into this week's horror stories. The clock had already crept past midnight by the time I left my parents' place. They're 3 hours away, and I always underestimate how late it gets before I start back. By the time I hit that endless ribbon of highway through the back roads, it felt like I was the last person awake in the world. 20 minutes had passed without a single pair of headlights. Beyond the reach of my own, the road was nothing but a black void. About halfway through, I noticed something up ahead on the road. As I got closer, I saw it was a car with its hazard lights flashing. A man was standing next to it, waving his arms slowly. I slowed instinctively, but something about it made me uneasy. I pulled into the other lane to give him space, and when I passed, I saw his face in the mirror of my side window. He wasn't panicked. He was smiling. That was enough for me. I wasn't about to pull over on an empty highway with some stranger in the middle of nowhere. I pressed down on the gas and kept going, telling myself I'd call highway patrol when I had service again. For a while, I felt guilty. What if he really was stranded and I had just left him there? But after about 10 minutes of silence, I forgot about it and focused on just getting home. That's when I saw something up ahead that made my stomach drop. Another car on the shoulder, hazard lights flashing, and standing next to it, waving his arms, was the same man. Same clothes, same height, same face. I slammed on the brakes for a second, almost convinced my eyes were playing tricks on me. But no, it was him. I hadn't seen another exit, and there was no way he could have beaten me there. My chest tightened as I passed him again. He wasn't smiling this time. He was staring at me, not moving. At that point, I was done questioning it. I floored it and tried to shake the image from my head. My brain was racing for explanations. Did he have a twin? Was I overtired and hallucinating? Was it some sick joke? None of it made sense. I couldn't even tell myself someone else would come along to deal with it. The rest of the drive felt like it went on forever. After another 20 minutes, I started to relax again, convincing myself I just needed to get off that road. I finally saw a sign for a gas station at the next exit. I pulled off and into the empty parking lot to let my nerves settle. The gas station was closed, but the lights were on, so I parked near them for safety. I sat there for a few minutes, debating whether to sleep in my car until morning or call for help. That's when I saw movement in my side mirror. A man was walking slowly across the parking lot, heading straight for my car. It was him. The lot had been empty when I pulled in. There was no other car. I didn't wait for him to get closer. I threw my car into drive and peeled out of the lot so fast I almost lost control. I didn't look back until I hit the main road again. When I finally did, the lot was empty. I didn't stop again until I made it home. Even then, I sat in my car in my driveway for a long time, staring at my mirrors, expecting to see him standing there. But I never saw him again. Hi, I've been a longtime fan of your channel, and after thinking about it for a while, I decided to share something that happened to me and my boyfriend a few months back. I still don't really know what we saw that night, but it's haunted me ever since. We were driving home late one night from my parents' house. They live a couple of hours away from us, and we always end up staying later than planned. By the time we got on the road, it was already pitch black. It's a drive we've done plenty of times before, though. It's mostly highway, then this long stretch of back road that cuts through a pine forest before you reach our town. It was a weekday, so the road was completely empty. No cars ahead of us or behind us, no houses, no lights, just the two of us. I had my head leaned against the window, half asleep, just listening to the low music on the radio and the sound of the tires. It was that quiet, peaceful kind of drive you sometimes get at night. Then something ran across the road. It happened so fast, like a flash of gray in the headlights, and before I could even process it, we hit it. The car jumped hard, and there was this horrible thump. My boyfriend slammed on the brakes and swerved just enough to stay in control. We skidded to a stop right there in the middle of the road. I turned to him, my heart pounding, and said, "What was that?" It didn't look like a deer or a dog or anything like that. It looked gray and tall, almost like a person. We both got out of the car. The night air was freezing and the whole forest was so quiet it felt off somehow. One of the headlights was cracked, but the car itself wasn't too damaged. No blood on the bumper, no fur, just a dent and a scuff mark where we'd hit, whatever it was. I was staring at the tree line and whispered, "That wasn't an animal." My boyfriend was rubbing his hands over his face. I could tell he was rattled, but he didn't want to admit it. He kept saying maybe it was a deer, a coyote, or even someone's stray dog. He said we should at least check if it was hurt. I told him he was insane if he thought I'd let him go in there. "You didn't see it the way I did," I said. "That wasn't an animal." But he just shook his head, grabbed the flashlight from the glove box and said, "I'll be quick. Just stay in the car and lock the doors." I didn't want to, but I listened. I got back inside, shut the door, and locked it. I watched him cross the road with the flashlight beam bobbing between the trees. It got dimmer and dimmer the deeper he went until it was just a faint speck, and then it was gone. I sat gripping the steering wheel so hard my hands hurt. The broken headlight made the road even darker. I kept glancing at my phone but didn't want to look away from the woods. Then I heard something. It wasn't coming from where he'd gone. It was closer. It sounded like something was brushing against the car, followed by a slow scraping noise dragging across the side panel. I felt paralyzed. I whispered his name, thinking maybe it was him trying to mess with me. But there was no answer. I leaned forward, peering out through the windshield, and that's when I saw it. A head, just barely peeking above the hood of the car. For a split second I thought it was him crouching to scare me. But the longer I stared, the more I realized it wasn't. The head was too narrow. The skin was pale and stretched tight. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the keys when trying to start the car. The undamaged headlight flicked on, and that's when I saw it clearly. It wasn't a human, not even close. The thing stood up taller now. Its skin was this washed-out gray. It tilted its head at me and started walking toward my window. I screamed. I slid across the seat, pressing myself against the passenger side and slammed my palm on the horn. The sound blasted through the trees. I just wanted my boyfriend to come back. I didn't dare look up again. I was curled across the seats, sobbing, pressing my hands over my ears, hitting the horn again and again. And then it went quiet, until something tapped the glass. I still felt paralyzed. My whole body was stiff. But then I heard his voice. My boyfriend's voice. "Babe, it's me. What's wrong?" I shot upright and saw him standing there. Just him. No creature. No pale figure. Nothing. Just him holding the flashlight, looking completely confused and worried. I unlocked the door and screamed at him to get in and drive. He looked confused, but he got in, started the car, and floored it. When I finally calmed down enough to speak, I told him everything. Every detail of what I'd seen. I expected him to laugh or tell me I was overreacting, but he didn't. He just stared at me for a long time and then nodded. He hadn't seen it, but he believed me. We still have to take that road sometimes to visit my parents, but every time we do I feel sick, and I still can't get the image out of my head of that thing slowly rising up above the hood of the car. This happened a few summers ago, and even now I'm not sure how to explain it. I was working late shifts at the time and driving home on these empty country highways I've known my whole life. That night felt off from the start. It was one of those dusky summer evenings where twilight fades into full dark, but something about this night just felt wrong. Like I was on a road I'd driven 100 times, but it didn't look or feel familiar anymore. I was running low on gas, so I stopped at this tiny rural gas station I'd seen before but never actually used. It was one of those old places with a single pump and a flickering neon sign over a little attached convenience store. The kind of place that looks like it belongs in a horror movie. There was just one other vehicle there, an old pickup truck with rust crawling up the sides. I filled up, went inside to grab some water. The place smelled like a mix of cleaning supplies and old cigarette smoke. I paid, walked back out, and got in my car. Everything about it felt ordinary at that point. Then I got back on the highway. That's when it started to get weird. I noticed the road felt longer than it usually did. A light fog had started rolling in, and everything in my headlights looked duller. About 20 minutes later, I came around a bend, and there it was. The exact same gas station. Not kind of similar, but exactly the same. Same flickering neon sign. Same old pickup parked out front. I slowed down, trying to convince myself it was just another station that looked similar. But as I got closer, I noticed the details. The peeling paint on the sign, the dent in the corner of the pump, even the little sticker on the store window that said, "Open 24 hours." All of it was identical. I pulled into the lot. I got out and walked around my car, trying to convince myself there was some logical reason for it. Maybe the roads curved and I'd ended up back here without realizing it. But my phone's GPS said I was still on the same straight highway, heading the right way. That's when I looked at the pickup again. The driver's door was cracked open now. No one inside, or at least no one I could see. But I had the strongest feeling someone was watching me. I got back in my car, locked the doors, and got back on the highway. For the next 20 minutes, I drove like my life depended on it. And then, like some nightmare on repeat, there it was again. The same gas station, same flickering neon, same pickup. Only this time the details were off. The door to the store was open now. The pickup's headlights were on, but still no one inside. I didn't pull in. I just kept driving. I tried looking for side roads, anything to get off that stretch of highway, but there weren't any. Just endless pavement and that gas station, always ahead. Eventually, panic really set in. I pulled over onto a gravel shoulder to try and get my bearings. My phone showed no issues. The signal was fine, but I couldn't bring myself to call anyone. What would I even tell them? I looked up at the sky, trying to calm myself down, and noticed the stars were faint, almost hidden by a haze I hadn't even realized was there. I was still staring when I heard something. Someone was running down the road at full speed. I looked around but couldn't see anything in the dark. Already on edge from everything that had happened, I didn't want to wait to find out who or what it was. I ran back into my car, slammed the door, locked it, and drove off. I expected that gas station to pop up again any second, but it never did. The highway continued on until I finally, about an hour later, was pulling into my driveway. I haven't told anyone about that night. I don't even know if anyone would believe me. Would you? If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing, as it shows the YouTube algorithm that you enjoy my content.